On the 17th or 18th of February, there will be a solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, bringing sudden turnarounds, fated changes, and new destined pathways opening up. In this video, I'll talk about what that eclipse means astrologically and do a sign-by-sign breakdown so that you can see what part of your life will be affected. Hello everybody, welcome to this video. My name is Fiona of Sun and Moon Calendar. I make calendars like this one for Australia and like this one for New Zealand, or Aotearoa, kia ora if you're from New Zealand. I am actually based in New Zealand, but this astrology is for the whole world, and it might bring a little bit of a Southern Hemisphere perspective to all of the astrology that we hear about from the Northern Hemisphere, which I will acknowledge is fantastic. I have learned so much from listening to and learning from Northern Hemisphere astrologers. Anyway, in this video, I'm going to focus on the eclipse, the solar eclipse, the new moon eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, and talk about what that might mean for your life. There could be some fated changes coming your way, disruptions that turn your life around, new pathways to follow. I'll do a sign, but I'll explain the eclipse first and then do a sign-by-sign breakdown. This video follows up from a weekly video that I do that just goes through the transits and aspects of the week one by one. So you can go back and look at that as well if you want to see what's going in general this week. So here we go, the solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius. That is where the sun and moon have come together, and they are near the eclipse point so that the moon actually covers the sun. All right. Okay, so I had a couple of choices about how to title this, and I'm going to explain my title options because it tells you about an eclipse. So I don't know what I'm going to choose in the end by the time you see this video. All right, a surprise is coming your way, and I've chosen that because eclipses bring surprises. They bring sudden turnaround events, okay, and disruptions. But usually there can be a feeling that these disruptions, especially when it brings something new, that it's exciting, and certainly there can be a feeling of fate or destiny about it. And so the other title option I've got is Fate Plays a Hand in Your Life, or maybe I'll make it Destiny Plays a Hand in Your Life. And this is true. This is what eclipses do. We have a soul, and our soul is on a journey, and that journey might be over lifetimes, or it might be within this life, depending on whether you're into past lives or not. If you want to think about it just for this life, fine, that's fine, do that, because that still works. It's like our soul, our inner self is on a journey, and it's not necessarily about money, and it's not about success or reputation, even though we're on those journeys as well. Of course, you know, we've all got a money story and we've all got a career and success story, but the soul's journey might want to do something that's nothing to do with career or money. I don't know, for you in your life, depending on where the North Node sits, the eclipse point in your chart will be where your soul wants to move towards. But at the moment, the North Node is in the sign of Pisces, all right? And as a collective, we want to move towards that. And the eclipses bring these changes that usually are coming from the outside world that make us move closer to that journey that our soul wants to move towards. I love it. I love this idea that, you know, fate can step in sometimes, destiny can step in sometimes and give us this helping boost. All right. And at the end of this video, I'll tell you about a few times where that has happened for me and what I've noticed and what has come out of it. All right, I better think of some now. I've got one in my mind, but I'll try and come up with some other examples. Okay, all right. The solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, it's right at the end of Aquarius, nearly in the last degree, so it's 28 degrees, 49 minutes. This is what I wrote in the calendar, right, so this is the Aotearoa Sun and Moon calendar. This is the Australian one. This is what I wrote about it. Because it's a new moon, you can always, with a new moon, when the sun and moon come together, you can be setting intentions for that lunar month. Okay, extra powerful with an eclipse, and of course surprises with an eclipse. Aquarius has the energy of helping humanity, developing new technology, being innovative and quite rational minded, but also unconventional and sometimes rebellious. So I wrote, set intentions for humanitarian projects that are unconventional and original, even out of the box. Fated changes, and the main energy of the eclipse will be over 2 or 3 days, but then the story of that, or the changes, could come in over the next 2 weeks and even be developing over the next 6 months. Okay. All right. So here is the chart of the eclipse. All right. So as I have noted there, this eclipse is only visible in Antarctica and the southern part of Africa and the southern part of South America, so like southern Argentina. All right. There will be an eclipse that's visible in other parts of the world later in the year, so don't worry, we're not going to miss out. Okay, so you can see on the chart there where I've got that blue ring, the sun and the moon exactly together. All right, and at 28 degrees and 49 minutes of Aquarius. And what makes this not just a normal new moon, because we have a new moon in the sign of Aquarius once a year around about this time. But if you look over here, hopefully you can see where my mouse is circling. That is the North Node at 9 degrees of Pisces. On the opposite side of the chart is the South Node. This is not a planet. This is a point in the sky, and it's where the moon's path crosses the sun's path. And if there is a full moon or a new moon near that point, either the North Node or the South Node, there will be an eclipse, and that's because they're getting so close in alignment that one will cross the other. Okay, so that is what makes an eclipse, or part of the story. Of course, you could go into a lot of detail, but I won't now. All right, so Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and by Saturn, and both of these two planets have been incredibly active lately. Uranus is down here. All right, it's at 27 degrees of Taurus. It is square to the eclipse. All right, Uranus is about disruption. Eclipses bring sudden changes, and a square can bring disruption. All right, so there could be a lot of disruption, a lot of requirement to break out of our comfort zone. That's the Uranus side, and also the eclipse side of things, and the Aquarius energy, breaking out of our comfort zones. All right, doing new things, innovative things, being uncomfortable and on the edge. All right, and the square means it is challenging. There's an obstacle to overcome, or obstacles. All right, and you can see that red line there. That means the square. Okay, all right. And then the ancient ruler of Aquarius is Saturn. And Saturn, oh my goodness, it is such an incredible week for Saturn. Saturn is coming into conjunction with Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries, and you can see how close they are there, almost touching. And in the next video that I bring out, that will be about the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, this epic new beginning. So part of the eclipse is to do with that epic new beginning. All right, so whatever sudden change comes into your life, it can be an ending, but usually with a lunar eclipse, with a solar eclipse, it's more about new beginnings. All right, whatever change comes about, it is pushing you forward on this, your soul's journey in general, but also whatever this big new beginning is that Saturn and Neptune are bringing to us in the Aries part of your sky. Okay, so somewhere where the Aquarius part of your sky and your life and the Aries part of your life are connecting together. All right, okay, and then Along with the solar eclipse, at the same time, Venus is conjunct the North Node, and I can only think that this will be helpful, all right? Because Venus is a benefic. Venus brings joy and pleasure and comfort and luxury and the sweet side of life, beauty, love. Venus is about relationships and money and luxury items and possessions and treats, treats in life. And I think that, this being with the North Node, that will be helping to bring some of that energy into the eclipse. So that will be helping with that challenging square energy to release some of that. And the other thing that is helpful, and you can see how strong it is. They've done a strong, this chart is from AstroSeek. That strong blue line is showing a trine energy between Mercury in Pisces and Jupiter. They are close together in that trine aspect, and that will be helpful as well, because Mercury and Jupiter in a positive flowing aspect together, a supportive aspect, will help with communication about feelings, will help with expansive ideas and writing about those ideas, sharing those ideas, talking about those ideas, discussing, planning, analysis, making plans for the future with those ideas. All right, so that's great. That's going to help us. We've got the challenge of that square energy with Uranus, the challenge of the eclipse itself, but Venus conjunct the North Node could help bring some loveliness to those fated changes, and Mercury and Jupiter can help us work through stuff that needs to be worked through with optimistic thinking and planning in a positive and thinking expansively, thinking even about spiritual and the artistic and the right brain, bringing the right brain in as well as the left brain, because both Venus and Mercury are in the sign of Pisces. And a quick look at the eclipse and the mini grand trine, because it is playing a part. So this graphic was done by my daughter. It's from the calendar. She's done a great job with it, but it might be a little faded on there just because I couldn't get a big image of it. All right. Saturn and Neptune and their conjunction are at the apex of that triangle. And then off to the side there, we've got Uranus and Pluto. There's this flowing energy between these. This is over 2025, 2026, and 2027. This is absolutely rare and very potent for world changes and for developments and you in your life becoming a whole new person. And the eclipse is playing into this because Saturn, the ancient ruler of Aquarius, is part of this with that conjunction this week, and because Uranus is the modern ruler of Aquarius, and that is a real big part of this trine, that is bringing innovative ideas, unconventional thinking, rebellious energy against the old order, new ways of doing things, progressive ways of doing things. All right, it's a very grand adventure. And also we've got Pluto is also in Aquarius, and the eclipse is in Aquarius. The thing is there, they are co-present in Aquarius, but Pluto is way back at the beginning of Aquarius. The eclipse is at the end of Aquarius. Nevertheless, it's more Aquarius energy, thinking about big, grand solutions for humanitarian problems, thinking about innovation and technology, being progressive, new ideas, out of the box thinking, and being unconventional and quirky, doing things in a different way. Okay, all of this is the energy of the eclipse. In the sign by sign breakdown for the solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, we're going to talk about the changes of direction that could come probably from the outside of your life into your life, fated beginnings. We're going to start from the sign of Aquarius, and we're going to go quite quickly through because I need to be somewhere soon. So I'm just going to give you a little brief rundown of the part of your life that this will be affecting. If you are Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, but especially Aquarius Rising, this eclipse is occurring for you in your first house, Aries. That is everything about you. That is who you are in the world, the character that you play, the role that you play in the world, and the energy that you're sending out to all parts of your life. So this could affect your relationships, your career, your home, the people you live with, any part of your life. It's also about how people see you in the world, and they might well be noticing you more, especially as there's been all this energy in Aquarius with all the planets there recently. You've got Pluto in your house bringing you deep, deep, deep long-term transformation over the next 20 years, and this eclipse there, the solar eclipse in your house. All right, so expect that there are some fated changes coming along, some destined new beginnings, sudden turnarounds, and things that might not seem very good, things that might be troublesome, disruptive, upsetting even, but they are, and though it may be hard, they are bringing you closer to your soul's journey. And they might not feel hard, they might feel fine. So, this eclipse is ruled by Uranus and by Saturn. They are also your rulers, Aquarius. So, there's some action for you in your fourth house, especially because you've got Uranus in your fourth house, disrupting it. and that has been over the last 7 years that you've had disruptions to your home and family, your family of origin, maybe your grandparents, your ancestry, or learning about your roots. Okay, there's been disruptions there, or even just properties that you own, and with the square to the eclipse, that could happen again. And then you've got some epic new beginning in your third house of community and neighborhood and learning and social connections and communication. Right, more about that in the Saturn Neptune video. So all the best for that Aquarius. Please like, comment, subscribe if you like this video, and whoa, look out for the changes. You're going to be becoming a new person. If you are Pisces, Sun, Moon, or Rising, but especially Pisces Rising, and I am a Pisces Rising as well, the eclipse in the sign of Aquarius, it's a solar eclipse, so the moon will be blocking the sun on Tuesday the 17th or Wednesday the 18th of February, depending on where you are in the world. That is happening for us in our 12th house. So this is a hidden house. It's a house of where we are hidden from the world, and a sudden change or some new development, a disruptive development could come into our lives, but it will be part of our life that is not seen in a great way by the world. All right, so it could be an area that's hidden away. It could be like a place of retreat, even a hospital or care home, or something that we do, or ways that we are when we're not out in the world, our areas of escape and the things that we do to escape. Also, the areas of life where we connect to spirit and we have creativity that comes from spirit. All right, so the rulers of the eclipse are Uranus and Saturn. Uranus is in our third house, and it has been there for 7 years, bringing disruptions and new innovations into our house of neighborhood and learning and small business and communications and social media. And there's a square to that, so there could be some kind of challenge in any of those areas affecting us in the 12th house. All right, and the other ruler is Saturn, that is in our second house. We've got this great epic new beginning with the Saturn Neptune conjunction in our second house of our money, our finances, our possessions, our sense of self-worth, and how that is reflected in our material wealth and our material belongings in the world. So there's some epic new beginning developing there. More about that in tomorrow's video, or whenever I release it. Our own ruler is Jupiter in Cancer, currently retrograde, so we're not seeing lots of developments there until later in March, but it is exalted there, and the fifth house is our house of fun and hobbies and play and our children, and also romance. Okay, and self-expression, creative self-expression. So that is really enhanced with the trine to Mercury. So there could be something about communicating in any of those areas. All right. Our modern ruler Neptune is in the second house, so that's part of the Saturn Neptune conjunction. So all the best for that, Pisces. Expect some kind of surprise in an area of your life that's hidden away from the world. Please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Aries, sun, moon, or rising, but especially Aries rising, the solar eclipse on Tuesday the 17th or Wednesday the 18th of February at 28 degrees, nearly 29 degrees of Aquarius, is happening in your 11th house. And that could bring sudden changes, sudden turnarounds, some surprises that feel fated or destined, and in fact are destined, to the part of your life that's about groups of people that you belong to, whether that's friendship group or organizations of people. And or it also can be about your long-term goals in life, and there could be some kind of big change there, something that disrupts or changes or opens up a new pathway for a long-term goal that you've got. Is also a house of the rewards and the gains, for example, the income or your audience, to do with your career. Okay, so there could be some kind of turnaround there, Aries, all right? The eclipse ruler is Uranus. That's the modern ruler. That's in your second house of finances. It's been disrupting your finances and your income over the last 7 years, and this eclipse could bring about a further disruption. It's square to the eclipse, so there could be a challenge to overcome involving your finances. All right. And the other ruler is Saturn. It's the ruler of your 10th house. That is in your first house. It's part of this great epic new beginning that is affecting you even more than everyone else, Aries, because that is in your first house. So there's lots going on. Your own ruler is Mars, and that is in the 11th house as well. So there's lots of energy for that house of your long-term goals, your friendship groups. So there could be some big change happens to your friendship groups, all right? Or with a friend or an organization that you belong to, and also the rewards that you get from work. So all the best for that, Aries. Please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video, and good luck with the changes. Okay. If you are Taurus, sun, moon, or rising, but especially Taurus rising, on the 17th or 18th of February, you will have a solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius at 28 degrees 49 minutes in your 10th house of career. This could bring sudden changes to your career or your work life, your jobs, or something that you do in the world that you're known for, that you have a reputation and status because of this thing, all right, this work that you do. It's an area of life where you want to leave a legacy behind, and the eclipse could bring a turnaround, a change that leads you towards something that's going to help you with that legacy that you want to leave behind in the world. Or if it changes your plans with that, that is because your soul wants you to go in a different direction. All right, so expect changes. The eclipse ruler is Uranus. That is in your first house, Taurus. You have had Uranus in that first house for the last 7 years, disrupting, changing, innovating everything about you, making you less conventional, shaking you up in so many ways. And the eclipse could bring yet another shake up, and there's a connection with your career with that. And a square energy is not easy, so you might need to ride with and work through some obstacles with that. All right. The other ruler of the eclipse is Saturn. That's in your 12th house, and you've got that great, grand new beginning in the 12th house of the hidden parts of your life, parts where you're escaping from the world, even your creative side or your spiritual side of life. So, in your dream life. All right. So, expect some kind of great new beginning that's tied in with this eclipse, but mostly it's about that 10th house of your career. That's a very public house. It's how you're known in the world, all right? Your own ruler is Venus, all right? And that's in Pisces, your 11th house. So There could even be a reward from your career that comes about from this eclipse. That's nice. And yeah, it's because Venus is conjunct the North Node with the eclipse, all right? And yeah, all the best for it, Taurus. Expect changes in your career. Okay, and please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising, but especially Gemini Rising, on Tuesday the 17th or Wednesday the 18th of February, there is a solar eclipse in the sign of Aquarius at nearly 29 degrees of Aquarius. That is happening in your ninth house of travel, of higher learning, of belief systems. All right, Gemini, you are a curious person. You love to learn. And maybe you've been doing some higher learning, like university level learning, or study on the philosophy of life, or study about the world religions, and something comes along that will disrupt that with the eclipse, some kind of change that will take you on a path more towards the destiny that your soul wants to head towards. Or it could be something to do with travel, perhaps a sudden travel opportunity arises, or a requirement arises that you didn't expect. It's disruptive, it's a turnaround, but it is important for you and for your soul's development. Or it could be some challenge to your belief systems, or maybe a new idea comes to you and you go along with it. You have to go along with it, but there is a challenge with that because the eclipse is square to Uranus, all right? And that can bring even more disruption and more challenge to overcome. All right. The eclipse ruler, Uranus, is in your 12th house. So it could even be that there's something to do with your hidden life. Whatever you do in the private world, perhaps your connection with spirit, perhaps your dreams. Maybe you have a dream that makes you think about things, that changes your plans, or changes your trust in whatever religious or spiritual practice you have been following. And the other ruler of the eclipse is Saturn, and that's in your 11th house of your groups of friends, your social networks, the rewards that you get from your work, and your long-term goals. And there's a big, epic new beginning for those, for that area of your life, which I'll talk about more in the next video. Your own ruler, Mercury, is in Pisces. It's trine to Jupiter. That is your 10th house of career, and so there could be some helpful communications in your career, but mostly expect some kind of disruption in your ninth house, your travel plans, even your connections with people from other cultures, a disruption, a surprise, a turnaround. Travel plans, people from other cultures, spiritual belief systems, or higher learning, Gemini. Okay, so all the best for that, and please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, but especially Cancer Rising, the solar eclipse at 28 degrees 49 of Aquarius is happening in your 8th house, Cancer. This is the house of deep transformation, your psychological layers, your sense of inner deep power, or lack thereof at times. We all have it though. We've all got this inner power that goes right down to our root chakra, and that is the 8th house for you, Cancer. All right, so the eclipse is happening there, and this is a house of transformation and crises. It's also a house of shared resources with your partner. All right, or with a business partner, or investments, or savings, retirement savings. So there could be some kind of disruption or turnaround with any of these areas. There could be some connection with your inner psychology, like you learn about something about your sense of power in the world, or where you need to become more empowered, or where there's a layer of fear or a deep motivation within you that you didn't understand, and the eclipse helps reveal that in perhaps a shocking, surprising way. Okay, all right. Or it could be some kind of disruptive event or a turnaround in the area of shared resources. And another part of life that the 8th house rules is sexuality or intimacy with a committed partner. So something there as well. The eclipse ruler is Uranus. That's in your 11th house. That is square to the eclipse, bringing challenge and disruption. And that could come from your 11th house where Uranus is. That's a house of friendship groups, rewards from your work, your career, and long-term goals. All right. So there could be some disruption from any of those areas, an obstacle to be overcome. All right. And the other ruler of the eclipse is Saturn, and that is in your 10th house of career. It's meeting up with Neptune there in your career house for an epic grand new beginning unfolding over the next 36 years, but more of that in the next video. And your own ruler is the moon. You're ruled by the moon, Cancer. So this eclipse is even more powerful for you when the moon meets the sun in an eclipse. All right, so all the best for that, Cancer. Expect some kind of disruption or turnaround that leads you closer to walking along the path towards your soul's journey. So all the best for that, and please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Leo, Sun, Moon or Rising, but especially Leo Rising, the eclipse on Tuesday the 17th or Wednesday the 18th of February is in Aquarius at 28 degrees of Aquarius. That is in your 7th house of partnership. And this could be bringing sudden changes, turnarounds, disruptive new developments that help you to move on the path of your soul's journey. And that is in the house of partnership, business partners, committed partners, or anyone that you're working in a one-to-one way with. So this could be a client relationship even, or therapist relationship, but mostly it's about committed partners in our lives. Yeah. Okay, so some kind of development. It could be a development, a sudden turnaround for your partner themselves, or it could be for the partnership, the relationship itself, or it could be something that comes from you, but it affects the partner. All right, so a sudden change, likely for your partner. All right, so the eclipse ruler is Uranus, and that's in the 10th house. It's square to the eclipse. It's adding to the disruptive energy, and it's in your career house, all right, your house of career and public reputation. So there could be some influence from that area of your life. And the other ruler of the eclipse is Saturn, and that is meeting up with Neptune in the sign of Aries in your 9th house of travel, connection with foreign cultures, higher learning, belief systems. So expect changes and disruptions there. So please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video, Leo, and all the best for that. If you are Virgo, Sun, Moon or Rising, but especially Virgo Rising, the eclipse on Tuesday the 17th of February or Wednesday the 18th of February is happening at 28 degrees 49 of Aquarius in your 6th house. This is the house of how you give service in the world, your daily work, your routines for life, your routines for health and exercise and life admin. Okay, so there could be some big disruption that comes along, a turnaround that feels a bit fated or destined in any of those areas. And this change is helping you on your life's journey, your soul's journey. All right, the eclipse ruler is Uranus. That is square to the eclipse, and it's in your 9th house. So the disruption could even come, some of the disruption could come from your belief systems. Maybe you change, or maybe you lose trust or faith in something that you believe in. The 9th house is also about travel, so there could be a disruption there. And what else? Connections with other cultures, all right, and philosophy, higher learning as well, philosophy of life, and any kind of expansive learning or exploration that you're doing. All right, so there could be disruptions from there. The other ruler of the eclipse is Saturn, and that is in your 8th house. That's having this epic new beginning with the Saturn Neptune conjunction, but more of that in the video that comes out a bit later about that. And your own ruler Mercury is in a sign of Pisces, your 7th house of partnership. So there could be something going on there. It's trine to Jupiter that is advantageous. That is great. Okay. All right. And that could be helping you with communication and just helping you in general, helping you work through whatever the challenges are that come up with the eclipse. But mostly it is about that sixth house of how you give service in the world. Virgo, you love to give service in the world, practical service. You love to be precise and analytical, and the sixth house loves all that. And so the disruptions that come along, you'll work through them, and whatever happens, it's helping you on the path of your soul's journey. All right. So all the best for that, Virgo. Please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video, and good luck. If you are Libra, sun, moon, or rising, but especially Libra rising, the eclipse, the solar eclipse with the new moon in Aquarius at 28 degrees of Aquarius on Tuesday the 17th or Wednesday the 18th of February, is happening in your fifth house. This is a house, it's a lovely house, it's a lucky house. It's a house of romance and dating. It's a house of having fun, like playful, joyful fun. And it's a house of your children and representing these creatures that come from your heart, that are joyful and playful. It's also a house of your hobbies, your creative projects, creative self-expression. It's a wonderful house, and you enjoy probably some innovative and outside of the box things, Libra, in that area of life, because you have Aquarius ruling your fifth house, and maybe you even have some unconventional partners along the way. But the main point about this particular forecast here is the eclipse, where the sun and moon are coming together, and the moon will be blocking the sun from its view from Earth, and that is bringing about some kind of new beginning for you in that area that could feel like it's fated or destined even, and it could be a bit disruptive because Uranus is square, and it could be a blockage or a challenge to work through with that square to Uranus. All right. The eclipse ruler is actually Uranus. It's in your eighth house of crisis, of psychological transformation, and of shared resources with your partner. And the other ruler of the eclipse is Saturn. That's in your seventh house of partnership. It's coming into its conjunction with Neptune very shortly after the eclipse. More about that in another video. It's a big, epic new beginning for partnership in your life, but it could play into this eclipse time and that fifth house energy in some way, all right? And your own ruler, Venus, is in Pisces, your sixth house of the house number 6 of work and how you give service in the world in practical ways, and your daily routines for health and exercise and nutrition. All right, so all of those could play in, but the main point is some new beginning, a surprising new beginning, or an ending that gives space for a new beginning in your fifth house of your children, your hobbies, your playful fun, your heartfelt self expression, even entrepreneurial projects, and dating. So, all the best for that, Libra, and please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising, but especially Scorpio rising, the eclipse at 29 degrees of Aquarius, where the sun and moon come together, and the view of the sun is partially blocked out by the moon, that is happening in your fourth house, your house of home and family, your family of origin, properties that you own, people that you live with. All right. So that's on Tuesday the 17th or Wednesday the 18th of February. So there could be some surprising turnaround that feels fated or destined, some kind of change to do with your home. All right. The eclipse ruler is Uranus, and that is in your seventh house, Taurus, and it is square to the eclipse, causing some disruption because that's in your seventh house. That could have something to do with your partner or your partnership, whether that is an intimate partner, a committed relationship, or a business partner, or some kind of client relationship, or a therapist, or something like that, some kind of one-to-one relationship that brings an interruption or brings a challenge coming along with this eclipse. And the other ruler of the eclipse is Saturn. That is in the sixth house, your house of daily work and going to your work every day, your routines for life, your routines for health in your life admin, daily life, and how you keep that healthy and in order. All right, so there's a grand epic new beginning happening in that sixth house for you, Scorpio, with the Saturn Neptune conjunction, but more about that in another video. All right, your own rulers, you have two rulers, Scorpio. They are Mars and Pluto. They are in the same house as the eclipse. All right, and Mars is not conjunct with the eclipse, it's co-present. Pluto is far away from the eclipse. It's in that same house, the fourth house of home and family. All right, so you're fully involved with home and family at the moment, with your rulers being in there and the eclipse happening there. All right, so there's been a focus there for a while with the stellium in Scorpio, in Aquarius, and with the eclipse, it could be this final. Coming up to a final is, it's going to go on because Mars will be there a bit longer, but the eclipse will bring some kind of surprise, a turnaround, a change of direction, and there's a feeling of fate or destiny about it. So all the best for that, Scorpio. Please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video. If you are Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising, but especially Sagittarius Rising, the eclipse on the 17th or 18th of February, which is a new moon where the sun and moon come together and they are so closely in alignment that the sun is partially blocked out by the moon. It's in the sign of Aquarius, and that is in your third house. All right, this is a house of your neighborhood, your community, what's going on locally around you. It's a house of learning and schools, especially local learning, like local courses. The third house is also a house of hand skills, doing things with your hands like crafts, woodwork, learning a musical instrument. It's also a house of writing, speaking, communication, social media, and small business. So the solar eclipse could bring a surprising turnaround, a new beginning, a new direction that perhaps you've never thought of before. And there's a feeling of fate or destiny about it in any of those areas. So expect the unexpected there. It is also square to Uranus. The ruler of the eclipse is Uranus, and the eclipse is square to Uranus, and that could bring a challenge, a disruption. And Uranus is in your sixth house, so this is also a house of daily life. So that's about your daily routines in life, how you give service in the world in terms of your daily work. So there's a lot of like your daily ordinary detailed life coming up with this eclipse. All right, so Sagittarius, you like the big picture stuff. You like the big grand sweeping meaning, that learning the meaning of life, and the sweeping vision of life. So there's a lot of detail with this eclipse, and that could be a little bit challenging for you, but you will manage. All right, and your partner might help you because your partner might have this Gemini energy and they're good at details. All right. The other ruler of the eclipse is Saturn, and that is in your fifth house. All right. So Saturn and Neptune, they're coming up in a few days' time to their grand epic conjunction in the sign of Aries. There's a video coming out about that, and that new beginning. I'll talk about it then, but somehow that might play into this eclipse as well. Your own ruler is Jupiter, and that is in your eighth house of transformation, psychologically deep layers, and your partner's money. So maybe something will come in there. It's a house of crisis as well. But Mercury is trine to Jupiter, so I think all that will be fine. Mostly this is about your third house, your neighborhood. Oh, and another thing that the third house rules, it rules so many things, is your siblings and your relations, like your cousins, nephews, aunties, and so on. So perhaps some surprising new beginning for them as well. All right, or for your relationship with them. So good luck with the changes, Sagittarius, and please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video. And lastly, if you are Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, the solar eclipse on the 17th or 18th of February, it is happening in Aquarius. That is your second house at 29, nearly 29 degrees of Aquarius. Your second house is about your money, your financial wealth, your own earnings, your income, your possessions, how your material possessions and your finances reflect your sense of self-worth. It's also a house of security, material safety, and even luxury items. Okay, so that second house could have a surprising new beginning that comes with the eclipse, a turnaround in your financial well-being, a surprising event that feels fated or destined that affects your budgeting, your finances, something to do with your possessions. Maybe a new possession comes your way. Somebody gives you an old item of jewelry that you inherit from somebody or something like that, and you realize this is a very beautiful piece and you want to actually start working with jewelry or something like that. All right, so there's some kind of turnaround that is going to bring you some development in that second house, and even your understanding of your possessions and how you approach your possessions. Okay, the ruler of the eclipse is Uranus, the modern ruler. That is in your fifth house of it's the house of children and play and hobbies and self-expression, creative self-expression, and how you have fun in the world, also romance and your children, all right? That is square to the eclipse, all right? That could be bringing an eclipse can be disruptive, and Uranus is even more disruptive, and the square energy could mean there's an obstacle or a challenge to overcome with it, all right? But that's okay. You'll be okay. And then the other ruler of the eclipse is Saturn, and that is also your ruler, Capricorn, and that is in your fourth house of home and family. Saturn is about to meet up with Neptune a few days after the eclipse, and there'll be another video about that. And that's bringing about an epic new beginning in that house of home and family, family of origin. So that could somehow play into what's going on in your fifth house. Your second house. So that could play into what's going on in your second house with the eclipse. So mostly Capricorn, expect some kind of turnaround, a sudden event that feels destined, that helps you towards the path of your soul's journey, that helps you along that path with a bit of a leap and a jump. All right, that might not necessarily feel easy, and it might shake you out of your comfort zone in the area of your finances, your sense of self-worth, your material wealth and possessions. So all the best for that, Capricorn. Please like, comment or subscribe if you like this video. Okay, so I've been through all signs and you've seen what part of your life the eclipse might be most likely to affect you in. I'm going to talk about now a couple of personal examples of eclipses. They were from a long time ago, and I wasn't very much into astrology then, so I wasn't really thinking about eclipses at the point. One of these examples is a little personal, and I'm a bit nervous about sharing it, but I'm going to, because so often what happens in our lives is actually about what's going on in the private world. It can seem like little stuff, but it's big stuff for us. So I will share it for that reason, to just give you an example. So eclipses can also, and full moons. This was a lunar eclipse. Full moons, they can bring out the emotions, and eclipses can bring out the emotions even more. So at the time, I was seeing somebody, and I was in a relationship with somebody where it wasn't a public relationship. Lots of people knew about it, but it wasn't kind of official. Nobody was having an affair. There was nobody else involved. We were both single otherwise, but nevertheless it was a secret relationship, and this person I was with, he didn't want to make it public, and I was struggling with that, but I was just going along with it. I wouldn't do that now. I have moved on from that stage of my life, but at the time that's where I was at, where I really really wanted the relationship, and I just kept going along with it, even though that wasn't ideal. But then there came to be this event, this big party, and our entire friendship group was at the party, and we were both at the party, but we went separately. Um, we we weren't officially together at it, and I was really struggling with it, and I ended up just walking off outside, crying, pouring it all out to somebody else, being kind of publicly arguing with him. It was embarrassing, but it really came to a head for me that night. And the full moon, often there is a party around about that time, and it's just something big can happen at that time. And the eclipse made it certainly so. So that was really hard, and it was part of me having to face up to the reality of that relationship, even though I knew it already, but this really brought it out, and the eclipse was part of that. But then, in terms of the future pathway, the very next day, I was meeting with my landlord who came to do a house inspection. And the landlord said, we'd been in this house, and it's this very house that you can see here, and I love this house. The landlord said to me, we're going to sell this house, and so you might have to move out of it, but we're going to give you the first option to buy the house. And as soon as I heard her say that, I thought, oh, wow, this is pretty amazing. Like, I mean, any other time earlier in my life, I wouldn't have been in a position where I could buy a house, but I just had a feeling about this, and my family helped me scrape together enough money for the deposit, and we bought the house. I bought the house, and it was a wonderful moment, and it was a pathway forward. It was a destined moment. That moment did feel like there was a tingle in the air with it. And even the night of the party, which was the night before, all of that felt, the drama of that felt kind of fated as well. That's the eclipse thing. All right, so that was all one eclipse. I did have another example, but I've talked too long. Okay, I'll just say it. So this was another eclipse, and this was one day I was having some struggles with work, and it had been ongoing for a long time, like months. And I walked into the public library, our town library, thinking, I'm going to see if I can find a book. I don't know, maybe a book can just help me feel better. So I went to my favorite section at that time, which was the self-help section. And a book caught my eye straight away. It was the highly sensitive person in the workplace, something like that. And I thought, highly sensitive person? Oh, I suppose I am quite sensitive. And I got this book out, and when I learnt about this trait of the HSP, or the highly sensitive person, which I'd never heard of before, I realized, oh my gosh, I am an HSP person. I'm a highly sensitive person. And it made me realize why I was struggling with work. Like, gosh, the workplace for a sensitive person, even just life for a sensitive person. And we all have sensitivities, of course, but some of us are just a little more nervy, a little more highly strung, and more emotional. and I realized that was me. It was an amazing learning time for me to learn about this trait and learn that I was kind of part of a tribe with it. And that was an eclipse moment. It was actually the day of the eclipse. And actually, the timing can be any time in that week, either side. There's always another eclipse 2 weeks before or 2 weeks afterwards. And so with this one, we've got another one 2 weeks afterwards. So all within that eclipse window, as they call it, where it's where the timing can happen, but also over the next 6 months. But you get a clue around that eclipse time, all right? And so in a way, that helped me to work towards doing astrology as well, because I just got more and more interested in the ways that we are all different, and valuing those ways that we are all different. And in that moment, I was learning to value and also to protect those sort of parts of myself that were unique. and in this case more sensitive. Okay, so all right, that's all I'm going to say. There's still plenty of the year left if you'd like to order a sun and moon calendar if you're from Aotearoa New Zealand or Australia, and it is packed with information. It has birds and animals for your country. I'm just jumping to one now. There is Taurus for New Zealand with the tucker hair. There is Gemini with the chatty friendly fantail. Or if it's Australia, there's just wonderful illustrations. Okay, so Pisces is the bottlenose dolphin, so mystical. And I've already shared the wedge-tailed eagle this week. Oh yeah, Taurus is the wombat, so cute. Okay, all right, and the times are for your country. Anyway, all the best for the eclipse, everyone. Bye for now.